it's hard to say because they kind of, a lot of the songs are patched together from ideas that are built up over quite a while, or recorded on a dictaphone back in '93 sort of thing. Well, not quite that far back, but I usually how it works is Dave or myself would come along with an idea in various sort of degrees of completion, and then we'd both work on those ideas, and then we'd expand it up to the three of us, and then the five of us, and then with a producer. So yeah, I mean, some of the ideas definitely have been kicking around for a little while, but we started, I suppose, the formal album sessions around this time last year, February I think it was, in your place.
Safer Than Love.
Yeah, there's quite rarely. There's a tune on this record called Safer Than Love, which is quite a kind of we've kind of landed on this way of doing it using a kind of quite a Gary Newman sort of esque approach, for want of a better word, whereas we'd actually recorded it, or a version of it, for the last record in a kind of birdsy kind of 12-string Rickenbacker sort of way. So yeah, often you can dress the same song very different ways. Yeah, I think for us the acoustic shows are kind of a test of the song in ways. It's often been a case that we do write the songs pretty organically on acoustic guitar or piano, and then try to find interesting ways of dressing them, and that part of it is often very enjoyable, whereas it's all of us kind of flinging paint at the easel and seeing kind of what sticks. So with this record, we wanted to record it as the five of us. We've been playing with two relatively new musicians, Rory and Mark, over the kind of the touring period for the last record, and just have really enjoyed it and felt it really clicked. So we wanted to make the record in a kind of, it's funny, we did a session with Steve Lillywhite for NPR last time around, and he, we just in chatting after the session, he was very much of the, questioning the wisdom of how a lot of bands record records these days, which is a lot of bands are very self-sufficient and they have their own recording gear, and they rent a house and record, and then continue the process on various kitchen tables and garages, and it becomes very kind of disparate and never-ending. You can make a record on a laptop, and everyone's got laptops, so there's the five of us going away adding bits and nipping and tucking, and it just becomes this kind of melt. So he talked about the need to kind of regress to do it like proper music, old school rehearsals until you're good enough to record, then you spend a while in a good studio just taking a photograph of that rehearsal and leave it alone. So we're very much inspired by that, and that's pretty much what we did with this. We worked with a producer named Rob Kirwin, who's an old friend from Dublin, but he spent most of his kind of career in London. He's just moved back, and he just come off it just so happened that he had a window. He just come off the new PJ Harvey album, and we jumped at the chance of kind of spending a couple of months with him. So yeah, it really worked, in that sort of old school way. That's right, Pop and Zeropa, and I think he started as an assistant in a studio in Dublin called Windmill Lane, which is where they recorded a lot. So I think he'd assisted on a couple of the quite a few of the early records as well, which is where he met Flood, and became kind of Flood's working partner for a long time, and worked on a lot of projects together. So he's very much of that sort of, in that same sort of sonic space as Flood. He's a wonderfully enthusiastic person, and that's what the biggest plus that he brought to the process was kind of giving us faith in the direction that we were going in, and being kind of quite definite about what of all the ideas flying around were good ones and what weren't. So and I think we wanted to kind of hand over the reins in some ways to somebody who would do that, because we'd never really had that before. You know, we'd always try. You know, the process has always often been a case of kind of wading through the many ideas and just seeing kind of what filters out, as opposed to kind of making decisions early and following kind of very definite paths and not entertaining every idea that came along. So, and I think we kind of deferred to his sort of take on things often, and welcomed it.